Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sweetcast. I am Clint. We have
Eric Weathers. That's me. I'm
how's
here.
that for an introduction? And
Thanks.
then we've got a special guest, Will of Rabid Comics here. Hello, welcome, Will.
Thank you. I also go by Weathering Eric.
It's like the reverse Flash.
Yeah, I'm Bizarro.
I like it.
Eric.
Yeah. All right. So I know that everybody, like I said, everybody and their mother is streaming right now. Albino Thunderbuns is here though, so we know it's gonna be a party. He said, "What it do?"
He's a true fan.
That's right. So we're streaming, and if you're catching this later on, then welcome. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up because that really helps too. All right. So we have a lot of stuff to talk about, and this is more discussion stuff because I've seen things on Twitter that I think are worth talking about, like, conceptually. We'll see where that goes. Before we jump right into our thing, though, let's just take a look here at Quick Strike. And we will get back to it and be a little bit more thorough as the time comes. And once a little bit more people get into the stream here, I better lock it on me though. All right, Will, why don't you give us a quick pitch for Quick Strike?
Sure. So Quick Strike is a 90s style action adventure superhero comic. It's an introduction comic. It's not an origin story of Quick Strike. But rather, I wanted to make a comic that featured two superheroes, which is both featured on the cover there. Quick Strike, which is the main character, and the cat. So the cat is a vigilante who Quick Strike, he works as a superhero under as a government agent. He's sent down to basically hunt or investigate any kind of strange phenomenon. And of course, a 6 foot tall cat man walking around causes some commotion. And they send him in there to apprehend him. And so Quick Strike goes in to capture the cat. And the cat is like a vigilante. He's kind of like a Spider-Man Punisher mix, sort of something like that. And he's basically in the middle of tracking down the head of a crime syndicate. And then, of course, Quick Strike interrupts that. So they into their nice superhero spat. So that's what the comic book's about. Basically, I wanted to create it to showcase both characters, their power sets, and kind of give an introduction to what their stories would basically be like. So it's a launching pad for two comic book titles that I would like to work on, both Quick Strike separately and the cat.
Cool.
Mhm.
I like that you're not starting with a origin story necessarily. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like there are always so many origin stories, and they're nice, they're interesting, but it's not necessarily where the good stuff starts always.
Well, my thing was, I thought I was trying to think of it kind of like a movie. How like movie scenes usually they try to get you in on the action right away, right? Something that keeps you interested. You've watched those movies where 20 minutes in, you're like, this movie hasn't started to movie yet. Like, where's the where's the shark? Where is it? What's going on? Why are we watching these people eat crumpets and drink tea? Like, why are we doing that? So I want to jump something right in to get people invested in the characters, to kind of show off the story. Because I thought if I started with an origin story, someone might be like, yeah, but why should I care? Like, why do I want to know about this guy, and his daily life, and then becomes, like if I was pitching Spider-Man, I'd be like, well, it's about a nerdy kid in school. I'd be like, well, that's kind of boring. People want to see Spider-Man.
Yeah, and that's a big thing with writing. This is like the newbie mistake that everybody goes through. And it's not even just newbie. It's hard, but knowing when the story starts, and people usually want to start with backstory,
right?
And that's not where you're supposed to start. you should start with like the initial conflict. That's where you want to start, or really soon before that, and then any backstory you can learn as you go on when it becomes pertinent. So yeah, I like that. That's a sign of a good writer.
Yeah, I thought that if people aren't interested in seeing him in action, they're probably not interested in an origin story.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, I posted the link in the chat. So did Aldous, it looks like, too. So everybody check that out as we get into the show tonight, and we'll check back with it later. So yeah, Aldous is here. Towers Comics. Alfonso's here. And In a Disguise is here. Welcome. All right. Let me show you a tweet here. we could this could be something that we get a Sith Lord in for, but
You
it's
think so?
actually a good discussion point
You think
too.
so?
I think so. Might as well.
Let me
This
let me
is
let me look at something here. Hold on.
yeah. I'll set the scene a little bit though. This is the tweet Kurt Belcher. Again, it's it's a good bad guy voice, but it's also it's worth talking about. And that is, what creators can you work with? What publishers can you work with? Who are you allowed to talk to in today's day and age? The answer is whoever you want to, but
That's true. I agree.
yeah. Spoiler alert, not everybody thinks that way.
They
So,
don't?
No.
What makes you say
Unfortunately.
that?
Well, this tweet. Are you
Oh,
ready for
okay.
it?
Okay. I'm not
Kind
ready
of.
for it yet.
Okay.
I just thought I had an idea. I'm working on it.
There's a lot of buildup.
There's a lot of buildup. You gotta wait.
Man,
It's
the
worth it, though.
tension.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Wait,
We're reading Kurt Belcher,
yes.
which
Give me-
means rude burper.
that's
That's someone I don't want
Mm.
to talk to. Is someone who's consistently belching.
Yeah.
That is someone who you probably don't want to speak to.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, are we
Yeah.
ready?
Yeah. You want me to show the tweet? I'll share a screen or
I got it myself.
Whoa, that's scary.
It doesn't matter how liberal or forward-thinking you are. If you're okay working with or palling around with CG members or supporters, I'm not interested in listening to you.
perfect. I love that. Yeah, it does not matter how progressive you are. What about how conservative you are? Does that matter? I don't know if that's relevant or not.
Why
the
would that be relevant?
The interesting thing I think about, like with Twitter and when professionals say things like this, is that not only are we trying to be professionals, right? Like Eric and I trying to put out our own comic, and Streetcast putting out your own comic. We're kind of we're not them, but we're working towards being professionals. Is that when you meet these people in like Comic Cons or something like that in person, and you're just talking to them as a fan, because we're all fans. If you're speaking to them as a fan, they don't know who you are or what your ideals are, right? Nobody
Yeah.
goes up to a Comic-Con and be like, whoa, wait, hold on. Before you talk to me at my booth, can you fill out this questionnaire and see if we all agree on these following topics before I listen to you?
Yeah.
So it's interesting, like things like this only happens on the internet.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know. It's one of those situations where it seems like before, I know, at least for me, I was never on Twitter before last year. I had a Twitter account that I never used. And when I read comics, I'd kind of just like, I didn't know anything really about the creators except for a few that I liked a lot. But for the most part, it's like I'd see a name and just sort of read the book and judge the book by the book.
But would you judge it by its cover? Let's get real here.
Well, yeah, of course.
Good.
Initially, yeah.
Yeah, good.
But you're not judging it by their politics, right? Unless they're shoving their politics into the comics, and sometimes right on the cover. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ask me about my front cover agenda, I guess. So this is kind of part of the weird nature of Twitter, is that you have such close access to all these creators and their thoughts at any given moment, whatever they're willing to share. And that's where I feel like the problem comes. YouTube's also a problem though, too, or like not necessarily a problem, but you can have the same thing, is that you get to know a lot about the creators that are running those YouTube channels. So then it becomes really hard. I was thinking about this. How do you sell the hot dog? If that's all you're doing is selling the hot dog, but you're selling the hot dog really relies on a heavy social media presence. Where's the balance? I think there's a lot of wisdom out there. But what do you?
Well, I mean, are you going to sell your hot dog on a street corner in a small town in Idaho, or are you going to sell your hot dog in New York City?
All over the world.
That's your audience. I mean,
yeah.
Go with the metaphor here.
Yeah.
I haven't eaten yet, guys, so this is killing me.
So let's talk more about hot dogs.
Is it a sandwich?
Uh,
Begin.
if a sub is considered a sandwich, submarine or a hoagie or whatever it's called from your neck of the woods, then why not? Because that's a folded piece of bread. It's only cut completely in half when you put meatballs in it. Even then, you go to Subway and they're called sandwich artists.
And hot dogs are they're not
It's
even
just a
artists.
meat. That's all it is. Well, I mean, it's kind of it's a tube of meat.
It's like a wiener schnitzel with bread.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
just,
Exactly.
I don't know. I don't know where that metaphor went, but
We really want to confuse our guests and
Yeah.
our viewers.
so to beat a dead horse even further, let's say that you're selling your hot dogs and you get your tomato, your ketchup.
Wait, is the hot dog made out of the dead horse?
Lips and a-holes, lips and a-holes,
That's all. Yeah.
to quote Steve Martin.
Yeah. So, but you're associating with somebody that makes ketchup, and they're comic skate.
So there's a train and there's a track, and this train is no longer on said track,
No, we have derailed.
and we are about 6 minutes in. So
Yeah. But yeah, where is the line? Where is the line drawn? Will say, I'm going to ask for you two personally. When
Mhm.
you are working with people, are there some things you put into consideration outside of strictly talent? What other things do you put into consideration?
well, I would consider what the book itself is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to do certain subject matter. I'm not going to
Mhm.
do adult comics.
Mhm.
I do just fine without that. So
Yeah,
I mean,
I would say
I have my
me
morals.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly true. Like I wouldn't do anything with spiritism, like anything that's like, you know, demons and stuff. That's not my bag, baby.
I have a problem with floating cities.
Oh, about that. You still gotta letter that man. You'll have to put your principles aside.
Your next book should just be called Floating City.
Yeah. Floating City, the sequel.
Well, think
Mhm.
about it. Even the name Flying Fortress. I could theoretically have a city floating, flying through space,
It's
and
true.
that would also be a flying fortress.
Yeah, it's true. It is pervasive.
It's everywhere.
Yeah,
It's like Johnny
all
Cash.
comics, ever present. Yeah. So ideologically speaking, I was thinking about this. Is there anybody I wouldn't work with based off of ideology?
Ideology.
I don't know. I don't think so. Like
I-
I'm trying to think if there was the biggest like SJW, but as long as they weren't nasty and evil to people, like, but they were the best darn, I don't know, colorists ever,
Mhm.
would I refuse to work with them? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know why we'd choose to work with each other anyway, because you'd probably be finding other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just that you associate with on a regular
You don't
basis.
want to be unequally yoked.
Yeah. But what if, hypothetically speaking, everything changed and you got a job at Marvel, and they put you had no choice. You got put on a creative team that was ideologically opposed to you. Would you take that job? Would it not matter?
Uh,
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I think about this. Like, I've got family who are pretty far left, some very far right, mostly. But yeah, like I couldn't just disavow family members. I work with people at work on a daily basis that are have different ideologies than I do.
Yeah,
And I get by.
that's true. That's a good point.
I
Yeah.
think it's weird that, I mean, coming from like an artist perspective, when you're talking about creative teams, if you're stuck on with a writer who's trying to obviously input their agenda into the comic, I think that's where you need to have a discussion, possibly with the editor if that's the case. But I would say, um, I mean, probably just talk to the writer about it. Like, I don't really feel comfortable working on this, and if they're worth their weight, they probably would work around things that are your strengths, I would imagine. But I would say, how did it even come up? Like, if I was on a creative team, I
Yeah.
want to know. I mean, is it
Well, I
when
can.
you're on a creative team and then someone tells you, "Hey, listen, before we work together, I voted this way." And you're like, "Oh,
Sure.
okay. Well, how's that pertinent to anything that we're doing?" And they're like, "Well, just
Right.
thought I'd tell you. I don't know."
I think maybe I have more of a experience with this than most people.
Late.
I'm working on 400 different books. I mean, I don't know what everybody's beliefs
There you
are, and
go.
frankly,
There you go.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I'm one part of a team. What if the writer and the artists have different views on what color the straws should be at the local gas station?
Well, maybe we should ground it in reality and pick a real topic like flat Earth.
Okay,
What if they were anti-flat Earth? What if
that's
they were
true.
round Earthers? Yeah.
I do work with John Malin. For all I know, Mark Polton is a globe Earth uh, conspiracy theorist. John Malin, flat Earth conspiracy theorist. Nobody seems to ever be considering the reality of Hollow Earth, where the dinosaurs and Hitler live. Um, so,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the Earth's hollow. We'll find out when we storm Area 51.
Is that the gateway
We'll find out in September.
to the center of the Earth?
That's one of the gateways. The main one, though, is in Antarctica. That's why all those prominent Democrats went
Penguins.
there in 2012 or whenever that
Oh.
was
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
their rejuvenation injections.
See, this is why you come here to watch Sweetcast, everyone. This is hard-hitting, important stuff.
Mhm. You heard it here first,
That's right.
Yes.
possibly.
Yeah, I don't know. When I think about this, I'm more concerned with conduct. Well, okay. First off, in getting a creative team together, is being the one that's initiating things most of the time and finding an artist and everything. Honestly, I'm more concerned with what their schedule's like, what
Yeah.
their art looks like, if they're interested in the project, how much their page rate is, all this kind of stuff. Honestly, there's so many more important things to go over. Problem is, I guess, when people are threatening that they're not going to work with you or they're going to ostracize you if you associate or work with anybody in Comicsgate or that pals around with Comicsgate, that's pretty overblown, really.
Yeah, I mean, but what can you do? Like, what can I do now? I've got I. Well, I mean, look, I'm working with Doug Tenaple. I've worked with Richard Meyer. I'm working with Mitch Breitweiser. I'm working with John Malin. Hopefully someday EVS. You never know. Like,
Yeah.
Who are these people? Yeah.
what's it? I mean, outside of Twitter, none of this stuff really matters anyways. I think everybody agrees to that. Like, if we were to meet in person, you might have a rude conversation with somebody, but 99% of the time you're going to just enjoy dinner and you're going to talk about everything but. You're going to talk about your favorite comics or the crazy story about the con table across the aisle where they had that weird display and those weird stinky people always came and showed up. Or, for instance, this Jim, this old nugget, 2014. You need this tangent, by the way. It's worth it. 2014. I am a plucky young. My hair isn't as long as it is now. I'm in Planet Comic Con in Kansas City, and I have a display of Flying Fortress because, well, I've been working on it for a while. And one of my posters, one of my prints, actually the most popular print I have. It's the opening in animation to the Indiegogo video. So there is Europe, and then across Europe is where the Nazis controlled, where they were, and it's just a Nazi flag, otherwise known as a swastika, I believe is how it's pronounced. At the bottom of that are 3 B-17 bombers flying up as if they are going to go bomb the country, right? It's a very popular piece. It's showing. It looks very, propaganda, wartime propaganda poster style. Very popular piece. 2014, I'm sitting across the aisle from Scotty Young and caddy corner from Tony Moore. It was probably my best table placement ever. But it was a slow point. This guy walks up to my table, skinny guy, young, probably in his early 20s, dark hair. And he walks real quiet too. He goes, "You like Nazis?" And I'm caught off guard, obviously. I'm like, well, I mean, the Nazis are the bad guys in the book, and they're doing the, I start trying to pitch it to him, right? Like, and they're alien technology and all this and blah, blah, blah. He goes, "Oh, I like Nazis." And then he walks off. And that's going to be
Okay.
clipped out of context, unfortunately, but that's the story.
Yeah.
Uh,
There will be memes.
there will be memes. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully they involve Kelsey Shannon pointing at something and saying, "Shut up, Malin." That's my favorite Comicsgate meme, is the "Shut up, Malin" Kelsey Shannon meme. All that to say, meeting people in real life, you're going to tell those kinds of stories and not where do you line up on the political spectrum.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who do you follow on Twitter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Who did
Right.
you vote for in your local elections?
Yeah, or who follows you?
Oh, that's even
Right.
worse.
Yeah.
I've seen that. People are like, "Oh, look who this guy follows," or look who's following this person. That must mean something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must mean he agrees with him 100%.
Yeah.
That's why
Well-
you have to see the people make those posts of like likes are not endorsements, and retweets are not
Yeah.
whatever. The tweets are my own opinions, and
Yeah. Well,
they go without saying.
this is one of those things. Like, the reality is, eventually, Eric Weathers, for example,
Mhm.
he's going to get offered a job and to do some lettering for DC Comics down the road, or Marvel Comics.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's going to happen. I'm sure of it eventually, someday.
Pretty cool.
It would be. But then, like, at that point in time, it's like, is that worth starting? You know what I mean? Like, nobody cares.
But I can't. Don't you know I'm on the blacklist?
Right. This is my point. If everybody agrees that they don't care about any blacklist or any, like ostracization in comics, then it won't matter. And the truth is, it probably is just, I don't even know who this
It's
Belcher
the
guy.
12 angry people on Twitter. Here's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's this matter in 2 years? What's this matter in 5 years?
It won't. It really
know?
won't.
Just saying. Honestly, I'm here to put my nose to the grindstone, get some work done, make some great stories, and put the best work out that I can, whether it's my own stories or slapping my name on a book because I lettered it. I'm here to make good stuff.
Spoken like a true hot dog monger.
I'm here to not only sell you hot dogs, but I'm going to clean out that hot dog water anytime it becomes contaminated. And I will not sneeze in the hot dog water.
You heard it here first.
I will Dracula sneeze into my jacket like this.
No licking ice cream either. My goodness. Yeah. I'm just looking at the chat here real quick. Great points. We solved everything.
See, this is why I use a black light on all my ice cream containers. And it's just starting to catch on now. And this is like back in 2014, when I first met you at that Comic-Con. I was blacklighting all my ice cream, and now people thought I was crazy. But now,
but who has the last laugh?
So, did you also start the licking thing too? Maybe that. I don't know. That could explain it all.
I'm here to sell black lights. Okay.
However you get there, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Let's see. Albino Thunderbuns says, when I joined Twitter, I intentionally followed a bunch of lefty comic pros in addition to CG pros just to mess with the trolls. Still following most of them, and I don't get hassled yet. I actually do the same thing. I follow a lot of lefties, comic pros, just because I want to see what's going on. Like,
Yeah.
In fact, wouldn't have heard about any of this if I hadn't been following Jim Zub. That's how I heard about it.
You
So
know, I follow whoever, right? There's one that I'm a little bit bitter about. I got blocked by Brett Booth.
really,
Yeah.
I
One of my
think
favorite artists. One of the reasons why I draw. And he was, remember a couple of months ago when he was like fishing for info on crowdfunding, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
one of his concerns was the book would probably need to be done first before he launched it. And I had a week or month or whatever prior to that had actually done a poll about, because I was thinking about launching Oz sooner. And I was like, I got over 100 responses. Not a lot, but it was basically like, how much of the book do you want to see done before you're ready to back it? And one of the lowest percentages was
completed.
having it completely done.
Yeah.
That one of the highest percentages was a 5-page pitch. So
Yeah.
I sent him that info. I was like, well, just look, I mean, here's a poll I did. It's kind of related. And then I checked back like a couple days later because I always look at his art for gets me inspired. And I was blocked.
See, this is why.
Because he probably got DM'd, right? Oh, you got to watch out for that Eric Weathers, that
Yeah.
professional letterer who just
Right.
wants to make a good living and make good comics and good stuff.
Yeah.
He's a dangerous person.
What a jerk for sharing that information.
Right. You had his best interest in mind.
Yeah.
I did.
Like, yeah, this is the thing. It really does. It is a slap in the face to see that you've been blocked by Comic Pros, especially if you've been a fan.
Yeah.
I've been, I don't know. I still like think like, man, I've got some Mark Waid books that I don't know. Like it.
Yeah. Here's the deal. If he does crowdfund, I'll probably back it because it doesn't matter to me that he blocked it. He's still a fantastic artist and I'm still going to want to get his stuff.
Yeah.
So it's no water off my back. If you're going to block me, but whatever. I mean, he's got the wrong information about me, I assume. Or maybe he just doesn't like, milk toast guy from the Midwest who can do a Palpatine impression. Maybe that offends him.
He's pro Palpatine.
He's pro. Yep. Well, no, he's anti.
Well,
he's part of the rebellion.
Yeah.
Rebel scum.
They're
problem.
Always the rebellion. Let's see. Eric Weathers. Brett Booth is unworthy of your attention, almost as unworthy as Clint.
Oh. I've already got Clint blocked on Twitter. It's fine.
Almost. Yeah. We have to go in a really roundabout way to contact each other for live streams. That's hilarious. Aaron Olson says Mark Waid has written some great material, and he's gonna leave us hanging.
He was murdered for saying that.
That
mid-sentence.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things like even like Scott Snyder, he was my favorite writer.
Mm-hmm.
And I've lost a little bit of respect from him for him for a few reasons. But it's one of those things like, will I still go read probably Court of Owls is my favorite one that he's done.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. It's just a good book. I really like it.
Hey.
Yeah.
Even behind holes can make good art. So
yeah. This is one of those things that's like, how much do you want to know about the artist? And like music's the same way. I like one of my favorite bands is Modest Mouse. I like Death Cab for Cutie. It was like a lot of the Seattle kind of music people, and we do not align politically, that's for sure. But they make good music. I like it.
I want to say this, and I know I'm probably putting myself out there for saying this. Maybe we can edit this later.
Yeah, well, but all this show's heavily edited afterwards, so don't worry.
When I always had a problem with why know the race of whoever the writer or the artist is? Why is that important? I always thought that was like the whole thing with Christopher Priest. Like when they found out he's a black guy, they made him write black characters. And I feel the same way as like Scarlett Johansson said. Like, look, if I'm an actor, I should be able to act as any person, any tree, anything that I want to. Right? If you're a writer, you should be able to write anything that you want to. Putting that stuff out there, it seems I don't. It seems like what like why would you do that? Why was that? Why does it matter what color my skin is if my talent is good? I feel like if you as soon as you say that, you're kind of downgrading your hard work, right? If you say, "Oh, I'm a black artist, follow me because I'm black," there's like, well, that kind of means that you're kind of downgrading the fact that you spent years building your craft, right? I shouldn't like you because your color of your skin, right? Like it shouldn't make a difference.
Right.
So I
Right.
always feel like why bring that stuff up? Why be like, oh, hey, guess what? I'm transsexual. Like what? Why is that a thing? Why should I know that? What bearing does that have to do on your work?
Well, you're looking at it rationally. That's the problem.
Idiot.
You're gonna have to stop doing that, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you really should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is that whole SJW identity politics thing. That's what drives me absolutely insane.
I hear you.
Here, here.
Speaking of here,
Oh, look at that segue.
yeah, look at that. Let me just do a little pitch for Downcast here. I've been starting to promote it on Twitter the past couple days, and I've been getting a couple more backers, so that's been nice. 828 backers. I was thinking about this. It's totally doable to have 1,000 backers before this in demand phase is over.
Mhm.
Even though we are just crushing through pages, it's been a really nice pace. But Downcast is about blue collar teens that use the power of gravity to fight against a corrupt city for their father's life. There are still some great tiers. I took some of Eric's advice and hid some that were sold out. But I'll tell you this one right here. The print bundle for $35 is limited. There's 60 left of them. 140 have been sold, and you get one of each cover plus this great print by Chaz Wagamont. If you have not backed yet, please do check it out.
Should you be screen sharing?
Am I not screen sharing?
I see your face.
Oh, that's just the worst. How's that?
Well, it's a little better because I can see what you're talking about now.
I'm
Not just trying to look at it through the reflection in your eyes.
super professional around
As
here.
much as I like to look into your eyes.
Yeah.
I get that a lot.
Is it a comic book or is this an Audible? What are we selling here?
At 50,000, Clint will read it to you.
Yeah, hey.
Personally, I will fly to your home, tuck you in bed.
I was just going to say record an audiobook, but man, going above and beyond.
For $50,000, yeah.
How close do you get to my face? when you read it?
Can you smell the hot dog on your breath?
Yeah.
Gross. There's enough space for it to be socially acceptable, but just barely. Any more, and it would be.
You really ride that line.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Okay. Let's look at. Here we go. Here's some food for thought. We'll say that. This was posted by Jim Zub, and this is not necessarily fitting for a Palpatine read. He's just giving some of his experience here.
No, this is not a Palpatine tweet. This is just a Jim Zub tweet.
Yeah. So this was really eye-opening to me, and it ran along the same vein. Jim Zub said, after I was surprise fired for my first Big 2 gig at DC Comics, several pros told me to publicly throw everyone involved under the bus so Marvel could look good while sweeping in to save me. That's how the game is played, I was told. It's not a game, it's my career. The thing is, this behavior of like burning bridges, I'm realizing it happens a lot in comics. It seems like this kind of conventional wisdom has been going around quite a bit.
Well, I mean, burning bridges seems to be some people's way of life.
Yeah, like if you're not burning bridges, then what are you good for?
Yeah,
you got to be making someone
burninate those bridges. That's what I say.
I just can't see why. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me because, from my understanding, with Big 2, you could just as easily get hired again back at DC Comics, like a year later or something. Like things change, editors change, all that. So, and then also, why was it a surprise fire? Like, there's who knows all the details. And in this case, Jim Zub didn't take it. So he actually, I know that we disagree, and on Twitter he's told me like publicly he doesn't care for me or the YouTube channel, but I still think he's got interesting stuff to say. This is an example. I follow him because he does say interesting stuff like this. Yeah, this was in response to the worst career advice you ever heard or ever received. Okay, so here we go. Here's going to continue his thought. Following the advice probably would have got me work at Marvel a year earlier, but then my way in would have been industry maneuvering instead of anyone wanting me for my actual work. I don't know. When you're first getting into comics, I've heard that staying in comics is harder than or just as hard as getting into comics.
I've heard that too.
Yeah. To me, it seems counterintuitive. Like, to me, you'd want to have good relationships with every publisher, or like, or any editor, any individual you could. I don't. Am I wrong?
I mean, why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
At the same time, though, I say this, and I've made a lot of videos that are really critical of Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
So, for different reasons, but I don't know. Yeah, this is interesting. I think it even works down to on a creator to creator level.
I kind of have a theory. I'm just gonna throw this out there. I know I'm shooting myself in the foot or something, but I feel like maybe, yeah, I'm double gunning it.
It's the only
I feel
way
like
to do it.
maybe like a lot of careers, a lot of jobs are very drama free, right? I would say like you have an office job or something, you just do your work. I think at some point, because of how, I don't know, uninvigorating your surroundings are, if that's a word, that people start to crave drama. They want some little bit of excitement in their life, and they kind of start to fabricate things. Like as an artist or making comic books, it's your job, especially as an artist, right? Or even a writer. Probably worse for inkers and colorers, but it's very secluded, right? You don't really talk to anybody. You're sitting, you do your work, you send it in, and they're kind of like, hey, I'm kind of a public figure, right? I'm kind of, somebody said once at a Comic-Con, it's like, it's weird because you're a celebrity, but you're only a celebrity to a very small select few people, right?
Yeah.
My favorite
kind of celebrity.
Yeah. So it's a very select, it's very strange celebrity status. So it's, it's like the big fish in the little pond thing or something. Like if I just went out and talked to my neighbor, I was like, hey, I'm a huge Joe Mad fan. The guy'd be like, a what? What are you talking about? What is that?
Mm-hmm.
No idea. I go to a Comic-Con, people are going to be like, oh my God, I love his stuff. Oh, I can't believe this or that. The other thing, he's a huge celebrity. If he came in here, you'd be following him around like a little lost dog.
Well,
and I think at some
everything
point
has their celebrity. Everything does.
No, absolutely true.
So
Like,
also,
also
to circle back on a point, we as writers and artists and creators of media, we do create drama, and we put it in the book, and it makes a good story.
Right.
So I'm being a little tongue in cheek here, but the drama is important because there is drama that happens, and that's, oh my gosh, we have these droids that the Empire's looking for. We got to do something with them. Let's go find Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's drama.
Mm-hmm.
So drama sells. I think it would be better if people stuck to those pages, but it's going to crop up everywhere. It doesn't matter where you work. If you work on a farm, there's going to be drama with your neighbor, and the fence is on the property line, but nope, it's actually 2 feet into my yard, and now it's my fence, and I need to tear it down. But you won't want them to tear it down because that means your horses are going to run away. Drama is everywhere. It's human nature.
Yeah.
And
yeah. The other thing too is making comics is entertainment. This has been another thing, like watching Comics Matter with you, boy Zach. I've been thinking a little bit about some of the things that he's been saying, and it's like when you have a YouTube channel, you're also creating drama, not bad drama, but you're trying to make things interesting, right?
Yeah.
we had that analogy we took off the rails earlier. That was none of that was planned, by the way. But like you're trying to be entertaining for people, and the better you are at that, the more people are interested in watching your show. Like Nick Ricada, for example, who is destroying live streams in a good way. Like he does so good because he always has the drama going and he knows his stuff. And like there's a whole litany of things that he's doing right that work for him. But I don't know, like so it gets into this thing. If you're going to make a YouTube channel where you're being a critic, and that's the point of your channel, that like that's the point. But then you also want to make comics. They work together surprisingly well, but at the same time, you still have the same effect of people getting to know you and your opinions really, really well.
Yeah.
And then that obviously has an effect on your
I
sales and things like that.
I think you as a critic can find it more difficult to be a creator because you may have pre-burnt bridges with some people.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You bring up an interesting point. If when say you're a creator and you have a channel, whatever it is, if it's YouTube, it's Twitter, whatever it is, and you're putting out your own opinions, right? Nothing to do with your artwork or the industry, anything, just your own opinions on something. Strawberries are better than raspberries, right? Whatever it is.
Actually, I agree with that.
Me too.
Well,
yeah.
You're both wrong. So I'm blocking you both on Twitter after this. But my point is, you might have someone who's like, hey, you know what? I agree that strawberries are better than raspberries, and for that, I'm supporting you. I've seen it myself. I've seen some, like, I'm not going to call it out on the video, but I've seen someone say, because they enjoy this person's content, right? Not necessarily that they like this person's comic book. They support them because they also agree with whatever their philosophy is. Not that you like the product itself. So
Right.
I feel like there's some people, you lose some people by sharing your opinion, but they also gain other people who share that opinion. And I think that's where Marvel and the SJW thing kind of is trying to come in. I know they want that audience, right? They want that certain demographic that they're aiming for, but it's like what your boy Zach says. He's like, those people don't buy comics. You can try to sell to them, but they don't buy it because they were never interested in comic books. That was never their thing, right?
Yeah.
So at some point, regular comic book creators, whatever it is, you like strawberries, you like raspberries. It's still a dividing factor, but it shouldn't really have a say on whether, like you said, Eric, with Booth's stuff. If he blocks you, it doesn't matter. His art's still great, and you're still going to buy his product, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's those people
argument.
too. Right.
It's the same argument that I make for like people that are upset about movie reboots. It's like people were upset at Ghostbusters 2016. I didn't watch it because it didn't seem interesting to me, but it didn't ruin Ghostbusters 1 and 2 for me. I still love those movies.
Yeah.
A bad movie of, I can't think of it. Okay. The Street Fighter movie doesn't make me dislike the Street Fighter game. So, you know what
Yeah.
I'm like?
Yeah.
I can compartmentalize those things in my mind. So even though, at least in my head, right? Brett Booth blocked me because somebody said, "Oh, you need to watch out from those CGers.
Mm-hmm.
They're a bunch of rabble rousers, and they're gonna, I don't know, give you internet cancer or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because there was no interaction. He did reply with something. I don't remember what it was. It was just like a
go away.
No, it was
Oh.
It was fine. It was just a whatever. Like, hey, I see. It's a good poll, or it was something like that.
He's like, I see you hang out with that Sweetcast fellow.
Yeah,
I gotta tell you about him.
Yeah, seen you in those whisper.
You're getting blocked if you don't unfollow.
Yeah.
So either way, like, I'm not gonna go out and like burn all my Brett Booth art.
Right.
I'm not even gonna sell it. I'm just like, hey man, I love your art. You've always been. He was one of the first artists that I reached out to on email when I was like 17 and wanting to be a comic book. I sent him work of mine, and he replied with like critiques. And so
yeah,
Peter Samedi said Brett had lovely interactions with me. and he laughs at me. So now Peter gets the block, and he gets no hot dogs.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. There you go.
there you go.
Hi,
That's how it
Peter,
works.
by the way.
We burn bridges around here.
Yeah, based on jealousy.
We burn
Nothing
bridges
else.
and we burn hot dogs.
Burning bridges. Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things again, too. Like in 2 years, he may unblock you. Do you know what I mean? Maybe you'll
Yeah.
meet him at a con and things.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's again like I'm using Jim Zub as an example here. He before when I was just writing comics, I would email him and he would respond back to me, and we talked back and forth several times. This was years ago. And I still, even though he doesn't like me, he's like said that to me on Twitter, I still kind of like him, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just because he was he's a little surly, but he was responding to me and stuff and answering my questions. And so yeah, I don't know, it's like weird. Like I still kind of like the guy.
I
Um,
like the
yeah,
Sean Gordon Murphy approach, where he was like, "Listen, I know we don't agree, and let's just all just hang out, have a beer, and just have a good chat." And I think that's true. I feel like if Eric went to a con and saw Brett there, and he was like, "Hey, I'm a big fan and whatever," I don't think he's gonna blow him off. If he was like, "Hey, let's go get a beer after the show or something," they'd probably have a great conversation.
yeah,
Yeah, probably
It's
so.
based on some very very shallow like tweets or something. That whole
yeah,
thing is crazy to me.
yeah. Well, it gets petty.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
very
know.
petty.
Yeah, it's so to me, I'm almost like I'm ready to hit a reset button with a lot of people. I know that they're not ready to hit a reset button with me probably, but I don't know. It's kind of just like, yeah, I don't like, honestly, if I saw people at a convention or anything like that, I just, you know, you just move on or whatever. Granted, like none of us here have really had any big confrontations. I'm making it sound like it's been terrible, but
Did
honestly,
you just see the confrontation I had with Peter Samedi here in the chat?
I missed it. What did you say to him?
He said that he had lovely interactions with Brett Booth, and then he laughed at me. So I disavow Peter Samedi.
Mm.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
there you go. Don't worry, this won't matter in 2 years.
Oh,
So
you've got 2 years, and then
yeah,
we'll be friends again, Peter.
2 years of
2
blocking.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. Speaking of blocking, I'm going to share my screen. No, it has nothing to do with blocking. Let's take a look. Let's talk about striking instead of blocking. Quick
That was
strike.
a smooth transition.
That's how they always are, man. We're just
Clit's a seasoned professional.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a reason why this YouTube channel gets such great views.
Mhm.
Quick strike. Give us a little pitch now that there are some more people watching.
Sure, I'd love to. So, Quick Strike is my indie comic that I'm working on currently. Quick Strike, I created Quick Strike back in probably when I was in high school, maybe grammar school, I think, actually. So, this is just like Eric said, it's one of those projects you work on for years. I think I wrote and rewrote, redrew Quick Strike probably like 4 or 5 times in the last 5 years. Chipping away at it. It's Quick Strike's about a superhero. He works for a government agency, so kind of like how X-Files is. It's very Captain America-ish. He gets sent out to investigate strange phenomenon like creatures and stuff like that that show up. And so he gets sent out by Quincy Clark, that's the agent who is his handler. He sends him out on missions to go investigate things. And so the cat he's a vigilante. He's kind of like a Spider-Man Punisher kind of mix, and he is trying to stalk down a leader of a crime syndicate. So of course, Quick Strike shows up as the worst possible moment, to cause the comic book drama that we're all so much in love with. They get into their little superhero spat, and to interrupt the cat's stalking progress. And that's kind of what takes place in the comic book. I don't want to spoil it with any how it ends, but if you're interested in like a 90s style comic book, I'm going to be printing this on plastic bags to be totally different. Her newsprint was up to date with the latest thing. I'm doing the next thing on recycled plastic bags. because that brings down the printing costs even cheaper. No, that's not true at all.
No.
But yeah, it's a 24-page comic book, standard comic book. I'm doing all the work for myself, writing it, lettering it, or as we call it now, weathering it, penciling it, inking it, everything, doing it myself. Right now, the comic book itself is probably about 60% done, so it's not totally completed yet. But by the time my campaign finishes, it should be done.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do check it out for sure. I'm gonna post the link again, and it's on Indiegogo. And
It is on Indiegogo. Yeah. AL in the chat is saying that he looks a little bit like Snake Eyes from GI Joe, and he's absolutely right. He's inspired by Snake Eyes. He's inspired by Power Rangers. He's inspired by Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid. So a lot of that cool stuff that I liked. Just kind of trying to smash it all into one thing.
nice.
Yeah.
Looks good. Let's also look at Flying Fortress because you're almost out of time. $27,000. Oh my goodness.
Time's running out. You can hit refresh. There's a bit of an update. Not a whole lot, but we picked up another backer while we were streaming.
I like that. Yeah.
I am going to remove a couple of perks when we go in demand. I'm going to remove the head sketch one.
Okay.
Thinking about that, so get that while you still can, because I'm already doing. They're almost half claimed, and then the secret perk was also that one at a cheaper price. So I've got a lot to do, and I think I might cut that off.
Yeah.
And
good idea.
That's the plan. So if you want that head sketch, get it while you still can.
Get in there. I guarantee there are people that have been dragging their feet on this because they think, oh, I can just get it later. Thing is, the book's done, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, we're gonna re-letter it, so we're going through a sort of a quasi editing phase where I'm working with. I forget if it's been said or not, so I won't say who. You never know who wants to be known. He's in the chat, so he'll pop up and say, "Hey, go ahead." But I'm working with somebody, and he's going through and reading each. He has the old volume, the original.
Yeah.
He has the despecialized editions, and he is going through and combing through character dialogue and making sure characters sound like themselves, and finding more concise ways to get the same info across on certain sequences. And he's also pointing out things I might want to fix in the art, which is actually nice because having somebody else look at it, is good for me. And even then, I can be like, no, that needs to stay because XYZ. In those early books, I'm writing that fine line between if I fix it, then is it staying true to watching my artistic growth? Seeing it through the pages, which ultimately I think it is, even if I do make a few small corrections, because the overall artwork isn't going to change. I'm not redrawing pages or anything. So it's like fixing an ear or a nose, or the eyes are crooked. So do I keep that stuff? I don't know. Something I'm struggling with.
I don't know. I have no idea.
We could have a whole chat about
coloring stuff
art
I am
and
fixing.
style.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things. To me, it's kind of part of the charm to it is that it's kind of how you get to see your progression. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing that actually when I get my copy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I kind of just say, just leave it. You don't need to George Lucas it,
Well, yeah, there are a couple of things that I have said in the past that need to be fixed. Yeah. They're just straight up wrong. I need to fix them. And I've got to add all those new bomber pinup nose arts into the book as well.
Oh yeah.
Well, all your swastikas are backwards.
Yeah.
Just want to point that out.
That's too bad.
Yeah. They're actually the good swastikas. So you have to.
He wasn't kidding.
Around.
He does like Nazis. Well, nice. Yeah, everybody check out Flying Fortress. I guarantee there's some out of the 30 people here, there's probably somebody that hasn't backed it yet.
Yeah.
So do check it out.
I failed. I didn't pitch it. So real quick, a B-17 crew on a top secret mission to bomb Hitler, deliver their payload, sending him into a fiery death, but they are immediately shot down by an experimental fighter that makes them crash land in the Middle Ages. And that's where the fun begins. They discover a plot by the evil Infinite Reich to take over not just Earth, not just the world, but every dimension. And they have to do what they can to figure out what's going on, how to stop it, and how to get home. It's over
Cool
200
stuff.
pages, and the artwork's already done.
Nice.
It'll hopefully be shipping. You know, my date is December 2019. Hopefully you get it in your hands before the summer is through. We're trying our best, so we'll see what happens.
When you back it, I just posted the link there. Use that link because I need to win the contest, referral contest. So
Oh yes,
that's
I
important.
can show that. Can I show that?
Sure. Yeah.
There's still time, and it's gonna. We are gonna go in demand, so don't fret. I think I started this referral contest maybe a little early, but let me share my screen. So we have a referral contest going with Flying Fortress Remastered. There are the top 10 referrers are going to get free artwork. So I have a bunch of original pages, or I can do commissions. The idea being, if you're in the 7 to 10th place, you can get a penciled page or a 9x12 commission of any character of your choice. If you were in the 4th to 6th place, you can get an inked page or an 11x17 commission. If you're in the top 2 or 3 spot, you get both an inked page and 11x17 character commission. And if you are the top dog #1 referrer, you get a penciled page, an inked page, and an 11x17 commission. In those pages, I will probably, maybe for the #1 spot, you can pick out which ones you want.
Nice.
I don't see why not.
Totally worth it. Get in there, check it out. Also, it's a good time to share it because, then you can get in that referral bonus program.
Yeah, so the referral, for those of you who don't know, if you hit these share links, these share buttons here, those will send your link out with your referral ID. And then if anybody backs it through that link, you get a little check mark next to your name that says referral. And then those add up, and there's some voodoo behind the scenes, but they make it work. They make it happen.
Good deal. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I think we're a little over 45 minutes, but we're wrapping it up. Thanks for coming. Really appreciate it, Will. And
Yes.
good luck on your book, Quick Strike. It's on Indiegogo, everybody. Check it out. Downcast, Flying Fortress, all that good stuff. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up. I already have the one thumbs down. I know I've got some hate watchers.
It was Brett Booth.
It was Brett Booth.
Oh, maybe
He
it was.
tweeted it. Like, I hate these guys.
But we can't see it because we're blocked.
That's right.
So, all right. Well, we'll leave it on that note then. Goodbye, everyone.
Later.